There comes a moment when your soul gets louder than your schedule. A moment where the silence inside you becomes heavier than the noise outside of you. Where everything you've built, everything you've tolerated, everything you've justified, suddenly feels too small, too cold, too fake. And in that moment you hear it, it's time. Not time to adjust, not time to tweak. Time to begin again. Starting a new life isn't a decision you make on paper. It's a revolt you stage in your spirit. It's the moment you realize your current life was built on outdated rules. Rules you never agreed to. Patterns you never questioned. Chains you've been wearing like jewelry. It's not burnout. It's awakening. It's not midlife crisis. It's mid-soul revolution. And when that moment comes, don't deny it. Don't suppress it. Honor it. Because the universe doesn't scream. It whispers. And if you ignore the whisper, you'll drown in the consequences. So what does it really mean to start a new life? It means death. The death of the old story. The death of every identity that was handed to you instead of earned by you. It means leaving behind not just your comfort zone, but your comfort self. The one who played it safe. The one who knew the rules. The one who got applause for wearing the mask better than anyone. But the truth is, you're not tired. You're misaligned. You're not broken. You're buried. And if you want to rise, you have to burn. Not parts of your life. The whole thing. Because reinvention isn't addition. It's subtraction. It's deciding what no longer fits and letting it go without asking for permission. It's no longer about what you want to do. It's about who you must become. And that starts with mindset, not positive thinking, not self-help quotes. I'm talking about a radical upgrade in how you see reality. Your current life is a reflection of your current standards. If you want a new life, you need new non-negotiables. No more saying yes when you mean no. No more dimming your light to keep others comfortable. No more pretending you don't hear the voice inside that keeps whispering, there's more, because there is more. But more requires mastery, and mastery requires mental warfare. You must fight every belief that says you can't. Every fear that says you're too late. Every pattern that says stay here, it's safe. Safety is not salvation, it's sedation. And if you want to live, really live, you have to wake up. And not just out of your bed, but out of your old identity. You have to reclaim your belief, the kind that bends reality. Belief that says, I don't care what the world told me. I know what I'm capable of. Belief that backs itself with action so loud the universe has no choice but to respond. That belief won't come from reading books. It comes from looking in the mirror and choosing to believe anyway. Even when it's not logical, even when it's not visible, even when no one else gets it. Because belief doesn't start with evidence. It creates it. And when your belief is clear, your vision awakens. You begin to see it. The version of you that's been waiting behind the fear. The life that doesn't just make money, but makes meaning. The mornings that don't start with dread, but with direction. Vision isn't fantasy, it's clarity. It's the GPS for your future. And without it, you're not living, you're wandering. Working jobs you hate. Saying yes to people you don't respect. Spending time on things that don't move your soul 1 inch closer to your destiny. A new life begins when you stop aiming for what's possible and start building what's necessary. Not what's easy, not what's acceptable, what's true. And to live in truth, you need discipline. Because every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you hand your life to your lower self. Every time you negotiate with excuses, you surrender your future to your fear. Every time you skip the gym, delay the launch, avoid the call, you tell your old self, you're still in control. Discipline isn't about being rigid. It's about being free. Free from the patterns that trap you. Free from the emotions that sabotage you. Free from the old you who never finishes what they start. Your new life demands a new you. One who doesn't break promises to themselves. One who doesn't just dream at midnight, but executes at dawn. This is where the shift happens. Not in your goals. In your grit. Not in your desires. In your decisions. You want to start a new life? Then burn the old plan. Start moving like you've already arrived. Speak like the future is now. Walk like every step is sacred, because it is. Every step from here forward is not just a motion, it's a message. A message to your past that you are not coming back. A message to your future that you are on your way. A message to your old habits, old doubts, old fears. Your time is over. You don't start a new life by changing your environment. You start a new life by changing your energy. by shifting the frequency of your presence from hesitation to conviction, from survival to strategy, from reaction to creation. And to create something new, you have to move. Motion is magic. You don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into it. You bleed your way into it. You stretch your way into it until the skin of your old self splits wide open and reveals the power that's been waiting underneath. This is not a pivot. This is not a rebrand. This is rebirth. And rebirth is violent. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you certainty. It will cost you the version of yourself that was liked by everyone, but respected by no one. Let it cost. Because what you're gaining is priceless. You're gaining peace that doesn't shake in storms. You're gaining power that doesn't need permission. You're gaining alignment so deep, it silences the chaos around you. And in that alignment, you begin to build. Not from pressure, from purpose, because once you're clear, once you're locked in, you no longer work for validation. You work from identity. That's where action becomes effortless. Not because it's easy, but because it's you. You're not pretending anymore. You're not forcing it. You're flowing from the source, and the source is truth. When you start a new life, you stop asking, what will they think? You start asking, what am I becoming? You stop asking, how can I fit in? You start asking, where do I stand out? You stop asking, what if I fail? You start asking, what if I don't? Because failure isn't missing the mark. Failure is not even aiming. And from this moment forward, you are no longer aimless. You are no longer drifting in default settings. You are no longer living on repeat. You are designing. You are directing. You are delivering on a new standard that refuses to shrink for anyone. That's what a new life requires. Not permission, not applause, just standards so sharp that your old self couldn't survive one day under them. That old self, they feared discomfort. They feared judgment. They feared the unknown. But the new you feed on those things now. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your gym. It's your classroom. It's your proving ground. You run toward it because you know there is no breakthrough without pressure, no clarity without chaos, no transformation without trial. And you're no longer avoiding the work. You're attracted to it. Because now you've tasted alignment. You've tasted forward motion. You've tasted the high that only comes from living in full integrity with your highest calling. And once you've tasted that, you can never go back. Not without dying inside. Not without betraying something sacred. Not without watching your soul shrink every time you say yes to a life you no longer recognize. So don't go back. Burn the bridge. Burn the old identity. Burn the old goals that were based on your insecurity, not your truth. Burn the script that was written for you and start writing your own in ink, in fire, in faith. You're not here to tweak your life. You're here to transform it. And transformation is not a one-time decision. It's a daily devotion. A devotion to your highest self. A devotion to your discipline. A devotion to the life you know is waiting on the other side of your comfort zone. And every day you stay in that devotion, your new life grows stronger. Your clarity gets sharper. Your energy becomes magnetic. And you realize you never had to find a new life. You just had to remember it was always inside you, waiting for you to begin. You don't find the new life. You uncover it. You remove the lies. You strip away the expectations. You silence the noise until only one voice remains. Yours. The real you. The one who knew the truth long before the world told you to forget. The one who never needed validation to move. Only vision. The one who never needed applause to act. Only alignment. And when you return to that voice, when you finally say, I'm ready, the universe responds. Not with comfort, not with a handout, but with confrontation. It brings every test to the surface. It brings the weight. It brings the resistance. Not to punish you, but to prove you. Because the new life you asked for, it's earned in friction. It's built in the furnace of new standards. And you don't get it by hoping. You get it by holding the line, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because pain is the evidence of expansion. You're not dying, you're shedding. Shedding the version of you who needed to be liked. Shedding the version of you who lived in reaction. Shedding the version of you who built a life of convenience instead of conviction. And what's left? Power, presence, precision. The kind of energy that doesn't knock. It kicks in the door. It commands without noise. It leads without titles. It builds without breaks. Because now, you are the foundation. You've stopped waiting for life to be fair. You've stopped begging for signs. You've stopped asking for motivation. You've replaced them all with motion. And the more you move, the more your life becomes unrecognizable, not to others, to you. You look around and realize you don't think like them anymore. You don't speak like them anymore. You don't move like them anymore because you're not living in the old world. You're building the new one. You're not surviving the day. You're sculpting destiny. And the beautiful part, you've barely scratched the surface because the new life doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds. It reveals itself with every hard choice you don't run from, with every silent morning you devote to the grind, with every line you refuse to cross, and every dream you refuse to delay. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to know the next step and take it with courage, with certainty, with fire in your breath and steel in your spine. Because from this point on, you don't turn back. You don't question the shift. You don't doubt the alignment. You don't mourn the old life. You bury it with honor, with clarity, with a promise that says, I will live every breath with intention. I will never go back to pretending. I will not waste this second chance, because that's what a new life is. It's a second chance, a sacred responsibility, not to play it safe, but to play it real. So rise into it, not slowly, not cautiously, with force, with precision, with joy. The kind of joy that comes from remembering who you are. The kind of joy that makes you dangerous to every limit that once bound you. The kind of joy that turns your life into a living revolution. Because this is not just your new life. This is the life you were born to lead. And once you step into that life, truly step, not tiptoe. The world can't unsee it. They'll feel the shift in your energy, the way you walk with purpose, the way you speak with no fluff, no fear, no filter. Because this is not performance. It's permission. Permission for others to rise, to awaken, to burn down what no longer serves them and step into who they really are. You become the mirror, the reminder, the proof that reinvention is not reserved for the chosen few. It's accessible to anyone willing to lose who they were, to become who they're meant to be. And that loss, it's everything. You'll lose comfort. You'll lose connection to people who like the weaker version of you. You'll lose the identity you built to survive so you can finally live. You don't grieve the old life. You honor it, but you don't carry it. You extract the lesson, not the limitation. You keep the wisdom, not the wounds. You take the fire, not the fear. Because from now on, fear has no seat at your table. Only faith, only focus, only forward motion. And with that motion, you become a force, not just in business, not just in fitness, not just in discipline, in life, because you're no longer trying to do more. You're being more. You've fused purpose into your DNA. You've infused direction into your breath. And now you're unshakable, not perfect, not invincible, but rooted, grounded in clarity, locked into alignment, driven by truth. The kind of truth that outlives the trend, outruns the doubt, and outlasts the storm, because the storms will come. They always do. But this time, you don't flinch. You don't fall apart. You don't question your worth. You anchor deeper. You rise harder. You let the storm test you, and you pass. Because now, you've chosen your new life. Not once, but daily. You don't wait to feel ready. You move and let readiness catch up. You don't search for motivation. You create it with your actions. You don't hope to inspire. You become the inspiration. And your life becomes a living message that you don't need permission to rise. You don't need validation to evolve. You don't need certainty to begin again. You just need to decide. Right now, right here, forever. You've started your new life. Now live like it's the only one you'll ever get, because it is. So live it, fully, fiercely, with no leftovers. Don't save your best for tomorrow. Don't store your fire for a someday that may never come. Don't wait to be more ready, more perfect, more supported. You are the one you've been waiting for. This is the moment. This is the line in the sand. This is where the world ends for the person you were and begins for the one you chose to become. There is no ceremony, no grand applause, no flashing light when you cross into the new life. There's just you and the decision, the quiet, unshakable decision that says, I will never go back. I will never shrink. I will never pretend again. From now on, your life is built, not inherited, chosen, not given, lived, not survived. You speak like your words shape reality, because they do. You walk like your steps bend timelines, because they will. You show up like your presence changes people, because it already does. And if anyone asks what happened, why you're different, you tell them the truth. I didn't change. I remembered. And I finally decided to live like it. You remembered that your time is finite, that your light is sacred, that your dream isn't optional, it's instruction. You are called to build, to awaken, to rise. And now you are. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more asking how, because you know, deep in your bones, deep in your breath, deep in the fire that no longer flickers, it roars. You've started a new life, not just by leaving something behind, but by finally stepping into everything you were born to become. And now you lead it, you live it, you own it, and you never look back, because what's behind you is finished, not forgotten, forged, not erased, evolved. The old life didn't fail you. It formed you. It was the soil, the weight, the friction that carved the edges of your new strength. The silence that taught you to listen, the chaos that taught you to focus, the wounds that taught you how to heal and still move forward. So you don't run from it. You don't resent it. You bless it, and then you walk away. Not bitter, not broken, but reborn, because the new life doesn't need the old you. It needs the one who has tasted both fear and fire and still chose to rise. It needs the version of you that stopped negotiating with potential, the one who now only moves in purpose, the one who no longer flinches when the world says, that's impossible, because now your identity is built on proof, and that proof is in how you move, how you lead, how you show up when no one's clapping. This is your edge. This is your standard. This is the soil where your new world grows. And every day, you water it with commitment. You fertilize it with discipline. You protect it with ruthless clarity. No weeds of doubt. No shadows of the past. No thieves of time. Only the work. Only the light. Only the mission. Because now, you don't just live with intention. You are intention. And the life you once dreamed about, it's real now. Because you made it real. And the fire that once flickered, now it guides nations. Not through noise, but through embodied truth. So go and don't stop. Not when it gets hard. Not when it gets lonely. Not when it gets loud. Because you've already started your new life. And now you finish it with fire. You carry it with pride. You live it with no apology. You don't fade. You don't fold. You don't flinch. You lead. Welcome to your new life. Now go light up the world with it. And when you light it up truly, unapologetically, completely, you become something this world rarely sees. A human being who is fully alive, not half present, not half committed, not half believing. Alive, awake, aware, anchored. You don't just take up space, you define it. You don't just walk in the room, you shift it. You don't just dream anymore, you deliver. Because you've done what most won't. You let go of the version of you that was acceptable, digestible, polite, and you became powerful. You became real, and now the world sees it. Not in your words, in your walk, in your calm, in your silence, in the way you no longer chase what's already yours. Because when you start a new life, truly start it, you no longer operate from scarcity. You operate from source, from overflow, from purpose, from a place so rooted in identity that rejection can't shake you and success can't distract you. You're no longer building for the world's approval. You're building because it's who you are. You've moved from trying to transmitting. Every breath, every step, every decision. Alignment. That's the final stage of the new life. Not the rush, not the noise. Alignment, where your values match your habits, where your actions mirror your vision, where your results echo your beliefs. And that is a life that cannot be faked. It can only be forged. And now you've forged it. So never look back. Never shrink. Never forget the cost of what you now carry. Live it boldly. Live it fiercely. Live it like you'll never get another chance. Because you won't. This is your life, your moment, your legacy. And it begins right here, right now, with you. So breathe it in. This new life. Not just with your lungs, but with your soul. Let it flood your bloodstream like electricity. Let it ring in your ears like war drums. Let it rise in your chest until you can't contain it. Until the world feels the tremble of your conviction before you speak a single word. Because the greatest evidence of your transformation isn't in what you say. It's in what you won't tolerate anymore. You no longer tolerate indecision. You no longer tolerate the weight of someday. You no longer tolerate living below your calling. You rise, you roar, you redefine. You redefine what your last name will mean. You redefine what your children will expect. You redefine what your community will believe is possible. Because when one person chooses truth, chooses fire, chooses now, it ignites the permission for others to follow. You become the proof, not the theory, not the potential, the evidence. And now, you don't just live a new life, you multiply it. You become a walking revolution, not because you screamed louder, but because you moved clearer, lived fuller, stood stronger, and never turned around. So take this moment and seal it with a breath, with a vow, with a promise to yourself that you will never again live as a stranger to your own destiny. From this day forward, you speak with fire. You walk with purpose. You lead with peace. You give from overflow. You rest without guilt. You work with vision. And you live like time bows to your alignment. Because this is not just how to start a new life. This is how to honor the one you were given. So go live it with every ounce of your being, with every breath, every step, every heartbeat that still beats in your chest. Go live it like eternity is watching, because it is. And when eternity watches, it doesn't measure what you had. It measures what you became. It won't ask how much you earned. It'll ask what you did with your fire. It won't ask who approved of you. It'll ask if you approved of yourself. It won't ask what you avoided. It'll ask what you stood for. Because at the end of your days, when it's just you and your own reflection, you won't be haunted by what went wrong. You'll be haunted by what you could have made right, but never dared to begin. But not you, not anymore. You've begun, you've burned the old, you've entered the fire and walked out reborn. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more proof. You are the proof that it's possible, that it's real, that it's now. So keep walking, keep breathing like each breath is a second chance. Keep building like your blood remembers what greatness feels like. And keep living like the gates of your future have already opened. Because they have. And the only thing left is for you to step through them. Eyes forward, head high, heart open, spirit locked in. You have started a new life. Now go finish it with fire, with truth, with everything you've got, and give it everything. Not the scraps, not the leftovers after fear gets its share. Not the diluted version of your dream that others will find easier to accept. Give it everything, the full weight of your voice, the full force of your focus, the full measure of your soul, unfiltered, unafraid, unleashed. Because this world doesn't need more people fitting in. It needs more people on fire. People who move like their life matters, who wake up like their time is sacred, who show up like the future is watching because it is. Let your work echo in rooms you haven't stepped into yet. Let your name carry weight in the silence before you even speak. Let your life say something powerful without needing a word. I chose to live. I chose to break the cycle. I chose to heal instead of hide. I chose to grow instead of coast. I chose legacy over excuses. I chose depth over distraction. I chose to start a new life and never turn back. And now, wherever you go, you carry it. The new standard, the new spirit, the new story, not written by the world, but forged by you. So walk like it's yours. Build like you're the last line of your bloodline with the courage to change it all. Live like your life is proof that it can be done, because now it is. You didn't just start a new life. You became one. And becoming a new life, that is the rarest revolution. Not changing the world outside you first, but changing the one within you. Because the world you experience always flows from the world you embody. And now you embody something sacred, not just growth, transformation, not just ambition, alignment, not just movement, meaning you don't just walk anymore. You lead the way, not with noise, but with truth lived out loud. And people will feel it. They'll sense the shift in your energy, the quiet fire, the steady storm, the fact that you don't chase your future anymore. You carry it with every step, because that's what a new life is. Not a place, not a date, not a thing to announce. It's a frequency, and you've tuned in so clearly, so fiercely, so fully, that even silence cannot hide it. You've shifted from effort to essence. And your essence now, it's untouchable, unshakable, unapologetically alive. So go, not to find who you are, but to express who you've already become. Live like you have nothing to prove, because you don't. Move like you have nothing to protect, because you don't. Lead like you've already won, because, in truth, you have. You've won your freedom. You've won your clarity. You've won your life back. And now the only thing left to do is live it out loud. Live it out loud. So loud that doubt can't whisper over it. So loud that every step you take drowns out every step you didn't. So loud that even the shadows behind you begin to glow. Because a life truly lived, a life built in truth, carried with purpose, and protected with discipline, speaks for itself. It doesn't shout. It radiates. It doesn't demand attention. It draws it. It doesn't chase influence. It becomes inevitable. You have become inevitable because you didn't wait for permission. You gave it to yourself. You didn't wait to be chosen. You chose yourself. You didn't wait for the perfect time. You declared, now is my time. And now, the life you live becomes the message you leave. Not in theory, in legacy, not in words, in witness. You don't need to convince anyone. Your existence becomes evidence that it's possible, that it's real, that it's worth it. So walk on, not as who you were, not even as who you hoped to be, but as who you decided to become. The fire, the force, the living embodiment of what it means to start a new life and finish it awake. Now, go. Carry the light, guard the flame, and never stop building the life that was always meant to be yours.